Deepthought is a people tech startup whose vision is to create innovation leaders from startups across India. Deepthought acts as a business HR that understands startups' business objectives and feeds that right team and take responsibilities for the team. This allows the startup senior management to focus on the revenue generation. Yes, now I over the.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rohit, and I'm a technical product manager at DeepThought. So today, I'd like to talk about why DeepThought exists, what it does, and for whom. So I'd like to talk about the vision of DeepThought first. So our vision is to create innovation leaders for the world. And to help you see our vision, I'd like to narrate a short story. Now, imagine that you are the founder of a startup that is developing mobile games. All right. Now, you hire developers and product managers not just because they could create another game that exists in the market, but to create a game that has never been seen before, yet gives a great entertaining experience. That is your why. Now, you have all your processes and systems laid down to nurture these new hires so that they can figure out the what and the how given the why. But it turns out that they just have lots of difficulties aligning to your vision. As a result, they are not self managing, they become dependent. And what happens is that every now and then you would have to come down and align them on the why. This puts a lot of burden on you as a founder. All right. And you will realize that a desired output is not arrived at this, without putting in lots of time and resources. That is poor productivity. And think about it, you are paying their salary, so you're burning. So these are some of the problem statements that we have studied while interacting with startup founders across India at Bangalore Tech Sparks and Bangalore Tech Summit. And now the question comes up, what could be the solution? At DeepThought, we have come up with a solution that not only works for us, but it's also working for the 5 clients that we have as of today. So we come in as your business HR. And what we do is we bring in the right team and take responsibility of them. And now what do I mean by the right team? So using our own processes and systems, what we would do is we would help them align to your vision and values so that they can execute your processes and systems effectively. And now your processes and systems are what help you make the greatest games out there and ultimately generates revenue. So you can think of us as your partners who are taking care of all the people risks while you can focus on revenue generation. And we also make sure we are always invested in keeping that seed productive. All right. And now, how do we do that? So we have built a highly scalable SaaS in-house. All right. And as you can see from one of the case studies, we have processed thousands of applicants, and that was done by only 2 people. And we are continuing to engage about 100 people within the house, and that's also done by just 2 people. Now, let's talk business. Now, every client, for every intern per month, we charge a 5,000 rupees DT fee. And what is this DT fee? This fee is for us to engage and retain your employees. And 4,000 goes into the student's stipend. You can think of the student as a freelancer who's there with you for 6 months while we are taking responsibility of them. All right. And post 6 months, our platform is available to client roles and lakh ARR as of today. Now, at Deep Thought, we believe that the 21st century is all about intellectual property creation. All right. And we realize that one of the places where startups get stuck is in their product. And why is it that their product gets stuck? It's because people are not aligned with their vision and their objectives. As a result, they are unable to execute the startup's processes and systems. So, and we also realize that if you take a look at their balance sheet, the greatest expenditure is their salaries. So, what does Deep Thought do? Deep Thought takes care of your people investment so that they can create intellectual properties for you, and through the IP, you you can generate revenue. And to do that, we are coming up with a software called the Peter Drucker Growth Management System. It is a holistic software that not only takes care of an employee's reasoning abilities, but it also takes care of an employee's mental health and while growing their business sense. As of today, we are looking forward to raising $1 million in annual revenue, and that is through around 1,500 live learners and a few hundred startups. And why we want to do this is that once we can get for these startups and learners, we believe that we can acquire the market a lot faster once people see the proof of concept. And we believe that once we have about 200 live learners, we would break even operationally. And some of our acquisition channels are we attend tech fests where we network with startup founders, and we also visit internship sites or we tie up with colleges to acquire students. Now let's zoom out a bit. There are about 10 million learners globally, and if you could give us $50 per month per employee, we think that there is up to $6 billion in annual revenue. And for a B2B SaaS, the multiplier is usually 10. So we can expect a market of about $60 billion. And we think that once we're able to tie up with thousands of startups, we would be able to deliver the proof of concept so that big firms would like to come and tie up with us. And we would like to say one thing to them. Pay us $50 per month per employee, and we would turn your employee into a situational leader in 2 months. What is a situational leader? Somebody who has the conviction to take initiatives and ownerships to grow your startup. And if that's not happening, there's no questions asked. You can have your money back. Now, how do we distinguish ourselves from the competitors out there, the EdTech and the L&D tech systems out there? What we do is in real time, and we not only take care of their reasoning abilities, but we also give them a very safe space for them to execute, for them to access their freedom. And how do we do that? We come up with reflection drills where we make people introspect on what they do. So, and as you can see, one of my colleagues, Manish. So he's one of the examples that DT helps us learn and grow through reflection. Now, why would anybody want to go with us? All right. So prior to our pivot into people tech, we worked with school education, and we've been able to engage fourth graders to talk about philosophy. All right. And so we understand the grassroots learning. We understand reasoning from the first principles. And that's how we've been able to nurture students. And if you look, at Shavan. He is currently our Assistant Vice President Technology. And we used the same processes and systems on him just a year ago. He joined us in October last year. And today he's an AVP Technology. And currently, this is our team, team of investors, mentors, and full timers. And with that, I'd like to come to the main question: why would you want to fund us? And that's because we've been able to deliver long term value to our clients. All right, through the proof of concept, it was validated through it. And our clients continue to work with us because our SaaS is scalable. We think that our SaaS is scalable. And through our operational profit and focus, we believe that we would be able to sustain ourselves until we capture that $60 billion market. So, with that, I'd like to conclude. Thank you.
Now it's time for the question and answer session. But a small request that please be mindful in asking questions and also giving them tips about the startup and all. So it's all over to you guys.
So there's a DT fee of 5,000 rupees per month. It's only for interns or for any employee.
For interns.
Alright. So and then that means 4,000 is going as a stipend and 1,000 rupees is going for the DT service.
Yes.
My question is, what is the cost that any startup currently bear so that they can do the same thing that DT is trying to do?
So, you're talking about, if I get your question right, am I audible? Yeah.
In the online, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So if I get your question right, you're talking about the cost that any other startup would bear on getting this done.
Yeah.
Right. So it turns out that while startups can do that, they are usually burdened enough to do it. They're unable to focus on revenue generation because they have to take care of the interns while making revenue. So that's something that's not feasible for them as of today. We are working with early stage startups that have figured out their processes and systems.
Is there any way you could quantify it by any chance you could try out that exploration?
Quantify, could you?
Quantify, let's say for example, I'm a founder early stage startup. I have to take care of all my employee HR in training, getting them in the same alignment as a vision, so on and so forth, right? So, so the way I could do it is I devote almost 40% of my time saying that okay, this is what I'm going to be doing, focusing on.
Mhm.
The other thing I could do is hire someone who can manage the entire job, maybe a HR guy, maybe. So my comparison and the value proposition thing in my head is that as a startup founder, is it cheaper for me to hire my own team and do it, or is it cheaper for me to go with you guys? That's basically what I'm trying to understand.
That's a good question. I'd like to go and inquire and quantify that, but that's a good question. Thank you. Yeah.
So anyone have questions? Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Thank you.